going to start with a small etymology lesson. Among the first words that you'll get taught while learning Japanese are hana, which means flower, and hi, which means fire. Japanese has a lot of compound words, and when hi is not the first part of a word, you usually vocalize the consonant more, so it becomes bi. Put our words together, and you've got Hanabi. The title of this game, which in English is simply Fireworks. The word for fireworks in Japanese literally is flower fire. In English, we're making that fire get a job. And just as flower fire is an appropriate way to describe fireworks, it also gets to the heart of the game Hanabi. It is, without a doubt, one of the greatest video games about designing fireworks ever made. It's also one of only 2 video games about designing fireworks ever made, but that doesn't mean it's not good. Hanabi was developed and published by Magical Company for the original PlayStation and released in July of 1998. You probably haven't heard of Magical Company before, even though they were a developer and publisher who lasted quite a while. Most of their games were about topics like high school baseball in Japan. The only one of their games to get released in the US was Monster Bass. So they aren't a group that gets a lot of attention from fans of old games. I think Hanabi is probably their best series, if you can call 2 games a series. The heart of Hanabi is a simple loop. Gather materials so you can make better fireworks. Design better, more impressive fireworks in order to impress the local boss, and then assemble the fireworks that you made into an elaborate show. If you pleased your audience, then you go on to the next region and do it all over again. The reason that you're doing this in Hanabi, or Hanabi Fantast if you want to include the subtitle, the official title doesn't, but it's on the cover and the title screen, so people often do. Anyways, you're going through all of this trouble because Fireworks Land, the greatest amusement park in the world, is in trouble. Right before its grand opening, the fireworks master Pylon collapsed. He's in a coma, lying in the castle in the middle of the park, unable to be awoken. With Pylon out of commission, no one knows what to do, but his assistant finds the person who likes fireworks the second best in the world, because obviously Pylon likes fireworks the best. And maybe if you produce fireworks shows for every land in the park, then it will reawaken Pylon. The park has 6 regions arranged in rings around the central castle. There's 3 areas in the first ring, not counting the gate that you enter the park through. And after you make good fireworks shows for those 3 areas, you unlock access to the next 3. Completing those will grant you access to the castle in the middle of the park. Now, while it's possible to quickly assemble a couple of fireworks that fulfill the minimum requirements to advance the game, and then mash your way through the fireworks show, that's really not how you want to play Hanabi. If you want to have a good time here, then what you're going to do is spend hours trying different arrangements of gunpowder, trying to get just the right effect that you're happy with, then spend even more time arranging mortars around the park, angling them just right so they'll look cool with the scenery, and then even more time choreographing the show, getting everything just the way you want it. As a video game, Hanabi is okay. As a toy box that lets you play with fireworks with no chance of losing a finger, it's great, and there's nothing else like it. Assembling fireworks in Hanabi is actually very similar to real-world fireworks. The tiniest part are the stars. If you look at a fireworks display, every single one of those bright points that you see is a star. A tiny, brightly burning ball of gunpowder and some extra chemicals to help change the color. The composition of the stars can create all sorts of effects. Different kinds of trails, or they could sparkle. You can even shape them so that they aren't just points. Though the effect of this in Hanabi is a lot more dramatic than it is in real life. Stars in real fireworks can't turn into musical notes, I'm afraid. You take your stars and you pack them in a shell. And the shell determines how the stars are dispersed once the firework explodes. So the shape and way that they're packed matters a lot. Not to mention, you could mix different types of stars in a single shell. You wouldn't want to just randomly toss in everything, of course, but putting a sphere of one color around a sphere of another color would make a nice pattern. Or you could intersperse them, split them down the middle, have rings, put larger, longer-lasting stars mixed in with smaller, quicker-burning ones. The shell will also let you make different sounds. While there's always an explosive outward force, shells can be built to make all sorts of noises, turning that boom into a whistle, or a fizz, or a tinkle. The important thing is that blooming shape that you think of when you think of fireworks is due to how the stars are packed in the shell. Fireworks can also leave a trail behind them when they're launched, and in Hanabi this is referred to as the banner. The US manufacturers call these tails. And of course, the type of star that you use with this has a huge variety of effects. Finally, the fireworks shell has to get up to the sky, and to do that you have mortars. And these mortars are just like the mortars that launch artillery shells. They have an explosive charge that propels the shell upward and ignites the firework fuse at the same time. In modern fireworks displays, the mortars are computer controlled and timed so that everything launches at just the right moment for the show. Now that you know what goes into making fireworks, let's see how that gets implemented in Hanabi. You start the game with one sample pre-built firework, but scattered around the area are crystals that you can pick up by approaching them and hitting the circle button. The small ones are going to be stars, just a whole bunch of different varieties of stars. In fact, there's hundreds of varieties in the game. The crystals shaped like cut diamonds are special items, the shells or stars that have weird properties. Not all of the components are sitting out in the open in the lands. Sometimes a resident of that area will want to see something from you, and so you can build a sample firework and launch it right in front of them to get another item. Sometimes the crystals are placed in out-of-reach locations, and to collect those you need to hit them with a firework. There's not much more you can do in the gate region. The old woman will offer a little bit of advice, and you can view saved firework shows, but really what you want to do is go to one of the lands in the park. There is a recommended progression, and if you follow it, then your rewards will be things that will help you in the next area, but you're not required to follow this. You can freely wander around the first 3 areas, collecting all of the components before you take on a single show. The way you're intended to go is the Japanese region, then the Tulip Kingdom, and finally America Land. You know it's America Land because of the hamburger. When you're ready to start planning your fireworks show, you talk to the boss of the region, and they'll give you a video of the fireworks show that Pylon made for them. Someone right there, maybe the boss, maybe their assistant, will bring up a video interface menu, and you can choose to watch a random show, don't bother with that, or a saved video of a show. What you're looking for in this presentation are things that indicate the taste of that area's boss. Do they like certain colors, or shapes, or styles of explosion? Are there portions of their region that they prefer highlighted? You need to learn what they want so you can start crafting it. Once you have an idea of what you want to make, you hit the square button to bring up the menu. Here you can choose to make a new firework, place a firework that you've already designed, take a look at a list of all the stars that you've collected, see a map of the region that you're in, jump to any region that you visited, or save your progress. And if you choose to make fireworks, you can also choose to use another already existing one as the basis for your new one. The way that the firework creation interface works is first you pick out a shell, and then you'll see a bunch of colored squares. These indicate varieties of stars that you can pack into that shell, and you're not required to fill all of them in. In fact, you can get some pretty cool effects by not filling all of them in. You rotate through which position you're editing by using L1 and R1, and the stars are selected on the right-hand side. The second column are the sorting options, and then the third column with the tabs is for switching between what type of star you're using. The top option are the realistic ones. And then the second option are for the shaped ones. And then finally, there's the tab for combination stars, where a few types can be merged together. Once you've picked your shell and packed it with stars, you can go down to the bottom of the screen and choose to preview what it will look like. You'll likely flip back and forth between that and the design interface multiple times before you've got what you want. When you're ready, you hit the confirm button and name your firework. You can have up to 200 different styles of firework saved. And if you ever need to remove them, you do that from the menu where you can pick an existing firework. After you've designed or picked, a mortar is placed right where you were standing, and it contains that firework. The mortar that's there will shoot only that firework. There's no way to have a spot fire a series of different fireworks. You can interact with the mortar with the circle button, and that's how you choose to test fire it, remove the mortar, carry it to a new location, or change the angle that it fires at. For your shows, the mortars can fire through buildings, so you don't have to worry about obstructions and the safety problems that would come from that. You can place up to 20 mortars in a region of the park at once. When you have everything placed for your show, head back to the boss of the area, and you can start editing your performance. And I think this is actually the worst part of the Hanabi experience. The menu here lets you start recording firework launches, then program camera angles, which aren't necessary to impress the boss, but if you want to make it look good for your friends, you'll want to use these. Next, you can play back what you've already entered. And then the next two are to set up the fireworks and camera interface, and those are the most unexpectedly important features here. After that, you can save this performance to playback later, and finally finish editing, which will take you to the performance for the boss. If you don't set up your firework interface, you're not going to be able to make a good show. The way that this works is that all of the face buttons can be used to launch a different mortar. And then if you press and hold a direction on the D-pad, you'll change to a different set of controls. That's why you're limited to 20 mortars. 4 different ones with no direction pushed, and then 4 additional ones for each direction. What you'll usually want to do is set it up so that mortars that are close to each other are part of the same interface. Press and hold left and control the mortars next to the castle, for example. Selecting which mortar goes to which button can be a little bit finicky. Depending on your placement, you might have to move around a little bit to get the correct one selected. And when you pick a mortar, it'll swap its position, so it also helps to clear the buttons and then set everything up individually. Okay, now you've got your interface ready to go. Next, you want to set up the timing on the fireworks. So you go to input that, and there will be a bar moving across the bottom of the screen, with the red sections indicating spots where a firework really should go off. You can use L1 and R1 to rewind and fast forward through this. You can program up to 150 launches in the timeline, and the performance can be quite long. Later ones can be 2 minutes in length. So you might need to use some care in plotting exactly when you want to launch things. When you're satisfied that everything has been programmed the way you want it, take it to the boss and play it back. The boss will give points as they watch the performance, and this will increase anytime they see something they like. The maximum score is 100, but you'll pass if you get 60. Naturally, there are rewards for passing the boss's test, and those will be new stars and shells for you. The whole process of setting up a fireworks show can take more than an hour, especially if you're fiddling with everything and trying to get it just right. With the boss impressed, you go on to the next region and make a new show. I have one major problem with how the fireworks shows are displayed in Hanabi, and that's how it's supposed to be set to a musical performance, but you can't hear the music. Even if you're coordinating your fireworks for specific moments in the song, the volume of the music is mixed so low, and the fireworks sounds are mixed so loud, that you just can't hear the music at all. So there's no real sense of coordination between the music and the light show. With that caveat in mind, I find Hanabi to be a real charming game to fiddle with. Once you know what the bosses are looking for, it isn't hard to pass their exam. But experimenting with all sorts of different fireworks and effects is a lot of fun. Hanabi is less of a game and more of an art program, and it's pretty good at being an art studio. Hanabi is the kind of thing that's just fun to play around with. A sandbox for anyone who wants to make their own flower fires.